Adanna, 24, is dragged out of her father's compound in the middle of a family gathering. Her feet scrape the ground as her brother, Ejike, pushes her through the large gate. People are staring. Some whisper. Some pretend not to see. The compound, once her childhood home, now feels like a place of judgment and shame. Her mother stands near the entrance, tears in her eyes, but not the kind that show love. She walks up to Adanna and, without warning, slaps her hard across the face. "You have brought shame to this house," Mama says through clenched teeth. Adanna touches her cheek, stunned. She tries to speak. "Mama, please listen to me." "Shut up!" Her father, Chief Okori, shouts from behind. "You are not my daughter. You are a disgrace." Adanna turns to face him. He is wearing his chieftaincy cap, the same one he wears to meetings. His face is red with anger. His hands shake. The other uncles and aunties stand quietly behind him. No one defends her. Ejike steps forward. "You're pregnant, aren't you? And you didn't even have the decency to tell us who the father is. Or did you even know him?" The words sting. Adanna opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. Her heart is pounding in her chest. "I came to tell you," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. "I wanted to do the right thing. The right thing." Ejike laughs coldly. "You should have stayed where you went to open your legs. There is no room here for your kind." Someone throws her bag through the gate. It lands on the wet ground. Her clothes spill out. Rain begins to fall, soft at first, then heavier. Adanna looks around. Her cousins avoid her eyes. Her uncles shift uncomfortably. Her aunties murmur among themselves, but no one stops it. She turns and sees Adais, her younger sister, standing by the doorway. Their eyes meet. Adais doesn't say anything. Her lips tremble, but she says nothing. Her hands are clasped tightly in front of her. Adanna feels something break inside her. She wants to scream, to fight, to ask why, but she knows it's useless. With the rain soaking her hair and clothes, she picks up her bag, holds it close, and walks away. She does not look back. As she reaches the gate, she hears her father's final words, sharp like a knife. "From today, you are dead to us." The gate closes behind her with a loud metal clang. Adanna keeps walking, rain mixing with her tears. Her shoes are soaked, her stomach tight, but she keeps going, one step at a time, into the dark, wet street, alone. Flashback to the months before Adanna was thrown out of her home. She was still in university, a final-year student studying sociology. She was quiet, serious, and known as one of the most respectful girls on campus. Her lecturers liked her. Her classmates often came to her for help. She avoided parties and stayed out of trouble. At home, things were strict. Her father, Chief Okori, believed in discipline and respect. He expected his children to obey without question. Her mother was gentle but never stood up to him. Ejike, her older brother, was always the perfect son, top of his class, well-dressed and proud. He often reminded Adanna to act like a proper girl. Adanna lived carefully, trying not to disappoint anyone. But things changed when she met Mr. Ifeanyi, a visiting lecturer. He was kind, charming, and seemed to notice her in a special way. They talked often after class. He said she was different, smarter, deeper. He made her feel seen. One evening, it happened. They were alone in his office. He kissed her, and she didn't stop him. It felt like something beautiful in the moment. Weeks later, she missed her period. She bought a test and sat in her hostel bathroom, staring at the 2 red lines. Pregnant. Her hands shook. Her heart dropped. She wanted to scream, but she said nothing. She told no one. She called Mr. Ifeanyi, and at first he said they would talk it through. But after that call, he stopped answering her. He left the campus without saying goodbye. Adanna was alone. She couldn't tell her parents. Her father would never forgive her. Her brother would destroy her with words. Her church would shame her. So she kept quiet and tried to hide it. She wore loose clothes and avoided friends. But soon, her belly began to show. One of her roommates noticed and asked questions. Rumors started. She dropped out of school before it got worse. She packed a small bag and moved in with a close friend, Uju, in Enugu. Uju tried to help, but her own family didn't approve. After a few weeks, Adanna left again, this time to Port Harcourt, a place where no one knew her. There, she lived in a one-room space behind a food stall. She cleaned houses for rich families. Some treated her kindly, others looked down on her, but she kept going. When the time came to give birth, she went to a noisy government hospital. The waiting room was full. The nurses were overworked. The pain was strong. But Adanna didn't cry out. She bit her lip, held her stomach, and prayed. After hours of labor, a nurse placed a baby boy in her arms. He was small, warm, and perfect. She named him Chisholm. God is with me. The first few weeks were hard. She barely slept. She had little money, but she refused to give up. One day, while cleaning an office, she met a woman named Madam Grace. Madam Grace was strong, loud, and full of life. She was part of a women's cooperative that supported single mothers. She invited Adanna to a meeting. There, Adanna met women like her, women who had been abandoned, judged, and forgotten. They welcomed her. They listened to her story without shame. They taught her how to sew, how to save money, and how to believe in herself again. Slowly, Adanna began to change. She still missed her family. She still cried sometimes at night. But inside, she was getting stronger. She looked at Chisholm one morning as he slept beside her, his little fingers curled into her shirt. "I will never leave you," she whispered. No matter how hard life was, she had found a reason to keep fighting. Years later, Adanna stumbles on a folded newspaper at the women's center. It's sitting on the table beside a tray of bread and tea. She isn't looking for anything. She just picks it up while feeding Chisholm, now 7 years old and always full of questions. The headline catches her eye. Chief Okorie declares interest in House of Assembly seat. Her hands freeze. She reads further. There's a photo. Her father, dressed in his agbada, smiling with men in suits. Beside him, looking proud, is Ejike. The caption says, "Prominent lawyer Ejike Okorie supports campaign, calls for return to family values, purity, respect, and integrity." Adanna stares at the words. Her chest tightens. Her eyes burn. Purity, respect, integrity. She thinks about the night she was dragged out of the compound, the slap from her mother, her father's voice saying she was dead to them, the silent faces. And now, they are using those same words as their public image. She can't breathe. Later that evening, something else hits her. She remembers Amara, her university friend who once stayed with her for a few weeks after breaking down. Back then, Amara never said why she left school so suddenly. Adanna pulls out her old phone and searches for her number. To her surprise, it still works. The call connects. "Hello?" Amara's voice is quiet. "Amara, it's Adanna." A pause, then, "Adanna, my God." They talk for a few minutes. Light things at first. But then Adanna asks, "Why did you really leave school back then?" Silence. Adanna waits. Then Amara says, voice shaking, "It was Ejike. He forced himself on me. I tried to tell someone." His friends laughed. "One of them warned me to keep quiet. Your parents came to my uncle's house. They paid him off. I had no choice." Adanna feels like ice is running through her veins. "Are you sure?" she asks, though she already knows the answer. "I still have the messages," Amara says. "He threatened me. Your mother begged me not to destroy his future. They said I would bring shame on my own family." Tears run down Adanna's face. "I'm so sorry. It wasn't your fault," Amara says. After the call, Adanna doesn't sleep. She thinks about all the women in her family. Her mother, quiet and obedient. Her aunties, always whispering about things they could never say aloud. And herself, thrown out for being pregnant. All silenced, shamed, erased. But not Ejike. He got power, a law career, a clean name. And now he stands next to their father, preaching about integrity. Adanna stares at her reflection in the mirror the next morning. Her eyes are tired, but strong. She knows what she must do, not for revenge, but for truth, for herself, for Amara, for every girl who never got to speak. She looks at Chisholm, still sleeping with his small arms stretched wide, and whispers, "It's time." She packs a small bag, puts on her scarf, and takes one long breath. She is going back. Adanna returns to her hometown with Chisholm. The road feels shorter than she remembers, but heavier. The moment she enters the compound, the whispers begin. Neighbors glance at her from behind curtains. Some look away, some shake their heads. She walks with her head high, but inside her heart is pounding. Her father is sitting outside on a wooden chair, reading a newspaper. He doesn't look up. He doesn't speak, not even a glance. She stands in front of him for a full minute. "I came to see Mama," she says. He folds his newspaper and walks into the house without a word. Inside, her mother stands at the kitchen sink. When Adanna greets her, she stiffens, but says nothing. Her hands keep moving, washing a cup that is already clean. "Mama, please," her mother finally speaks, in a quiet, broken voice. "You should not have come back." Tears rise in Adanna's eyes, but she holds them back. She nods and turns to leave. She walks down the street to an old bungalow where Mama and Keiichi, their former neighbor, lives. The elderly woman opens the door, eyes wide in surprise. Then she smiles gently and lets Adanna in without a word. That night, Adanna and Chisholm sleep on a mattress in the corner of a small guest room. The fan makes a loud clicking sound, but Chisholm doesn't mind. He sleeps soundly, holding on to his mother's hand. The next morning, Chisholm goes to the local school. By midday, he comes back early with tears in his eyes. "They called me bastard," he says. "They said my mother was thrown out. They said we are cursed." Adanna hugs him tightly, her heart breaking all over again. She tries to stay strong for him, but when he falls asleep again, she goes into the bathroom and cries silently into a towel. Her body shakes with sobs. She slides down the wall and sits on the cold floor. She feels foolish. Maybe she should never have come back. Later that evening, Ejike comes to Mama Nkechi's compound. He walks in boldly, without greeting. He looks at Adanna like she is dirt beneath his feet. "You have no shame," he says, "coming back here after disgracing us." Adanna stands, her voice firm. "I know what you did to Amara." Ejike laughs, then steps closer. "Watch your mouth. No one will believe you. You think you can fight me. I have power. I have the family. You have nothing." He walks out without waiting for her reply. Adanna sits down again. Her hands are shaking. The fear is real now. Ejike is not just cruel, he's dangerous, and her parents will never protect her. That night, she finds a letter tucked inside her bag. It's from Amara. "Adanna, I heard you went back. I can't lie. I'm scared for you, but I'm also proud. They tried to silence me, and I let them. But you're still standing. That means something. Whatever happens, know that you are not alone. You are brave, even when it hurts. Love, Amara." Adanna reads the letter again and again. Something in her chest begins to settle. Not heal, but settle. Later, Mama Nkechi walks into the room with a cup of tea. She sits beside her and sighs. "You think you're the first girl they tried to silence," she says. "This town protects men like your father and brother. Always has. But you carry fire in your chest. That fire will burn you if you don't learn to use it." Adanna looks at her, unsure. Mama Nkechi touches her shoulder. "Don't run, girl. You've already done the hard part, coming back." Adanna nods slowly, wiping her tears. She looks at Chisholm, sleeping in the corner, and feels a flicker of something, small, but alive. She's not ready to give up. Not yet. Adanna decides to take action. For too long, she has stayed quiet. For too long, she has carried shame that was never hers. Now she wants the truth to come out, no matter what it costs. She meets with Amara in a quiet cafe outside town. Amara now works as a journalist in a nearby city. She has grown stronger too. Her eyes still carry pain, but they are no longer afraid. "We can take this to court," Amara says. "I still have the messages he sent me. I saved them." Adanna nods. "I'll support you. I want him to face justice. Not just for you, for every girl who stayed silent." With Amara's help, Adanna meets a lawyer named Mr. Obinna. He listens carefully as they explain everything, from the rape to the cover-up, from the threats to the political lies. "I believe you," Mr. Obinna says, "but we must be ready. They will fight back hard." Adanna breathes deeply. "I'm ready." At night, after putting Chisholm to bed, Adanna begins writing her story. Not with names, not yet, just her truth. She shares it online, using a new anonymous account. The post is titled, "They Called Me a Disgrace, but let me tell you who the real disgrace is." She writes about how her family threw her out, how they pretend to be holy in public, but hide their secrets, how her brother was protected after hurting another girl. The post spreads quickly. Comments pour in. Some people share their own stories. Some thank her for speaking. Others doubt her, but most believe her. The next day, Adanna gets a message from an unknown number. It's her younger sister, Adaeze. "Please, can we talk?" They meet at a small park. Adaeze is taller now, more grown, but her voice still sounds soft. "I'm sorry," Adaeze says, eyes full of tears. "I saw everything that night. I wanted to speak, but I was scared. I was just a child." Adanna hugs her. "It's okay. You were afraid. I was too." Adaeze takes out her phone. "I kept some things. Messages from Ejike. I think he's done bad things to others too. I can help you." In that moment, Adanna feels something shift. The silence in her family has broken. There is light in the darkness. Later that week, Amara sends her a voice message. "If you speak, I will too. I've been afraid for years, but not anymore. You gave me courage. We're stronger together." Adanna begins to post more online, not just her own story, but support for other women too. More people follow the account. Some share private messages with their own painful secrets. It becomes more than a post. It becomes a movement. Back at the family house, Chief Okori and Ejike begin to notice the noise online. Ejike visits her again, this time with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. "I know you're behind those posts," he says. "Stop now. I can make this go away. I'll give you money. A house even. Just stop talking." Adanna looks at him, calm and steady. "I don't want your money," she says. "I want the truth." His face hardens. "Then you'll destroy the whole family." Adanna shakes her head. "Number, I'm saving it." After he leaves, Mama Nkechi comes to her with a small radio. "I heard your story on the news," she says proudly. "I always knew you were strong." Adanna smiles. She still has fear. Fear for herself, for Chisholm, for what might come next. But that fear no longer controls her. She is not just surviving anymore. She is fighting. Adanna, Amara, and others go public. It starts with a press conference in a small hall in Port Harcourt. There are not many people at first, just a few reporters and cameras. But once Amara begins to speak, the room changes. She stands at the podium, her hands shaking slightly, but her voice is clear. "My name is Amara Naji. When I was in secondary school, Ejike Okorie raped me. I told my mother. She told the school. But Ejike's family paid them off. Nothing happened to him. I carried that pain for years, but not anymore." Gasps fill the room. The journalists start writing fast. Then Adanna comes forward. She holds up papers, letters, school records, documents. "This is a copy of a letter I wrote to my father after I got pregnant. He never replied. These are notes from a women's support group I joined. These are receipts that prove my brother and father paid people to keep quiet about his crimes." The room goes quiet. Flashing cameras light up their faces. One journalist asks, "Why are you speaking now?" Adanna looks into the camera. "Because silence protects the guilty, and we're done being silent." The video is shared online that same day. Within hours, it goes viral. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Everyone is talking about the Okori family. People start asking questions. Reporters dig up old school records and news stories. More girls come forward with stories about Ejike. In their hometown, chaos begins. Chief Okori is on the phone, shouting and sweating as journalists crowd outside his gate. His campaign posters are ripped off the walls. His political team quits. People call him a liar, a hypocrite. Ejike tries to leave town, but he is stopped by police. He is taken in for investigation. A photo of him in handcuffs spreads across the internet. That evening, back at Mama Nkechi's home, Adanna sits on the couch with Chisholm beside her. The TV is showing the news. Her father's picture is on the screen, her brother's too. Mama Nkechi comes in with a cup of tea and sets it down gently. Adanna watches the news quietly. She doesn't smile. She doesn't cry. She just breathes. Later that night, Adaze comes to see her. She hugs her sister tightly. "I'm proud of you," she says. Adanna hugs her back. "I'm proud of you too. You stood up." In the morning, Adanna takes a walk through the town. Some people stare. Some nod. Some avoid her eyes. But she walks with her head held high. She stops outside her father's compound. Journalists are still there. Cameras, microphones, noise. She doesn't go in. She just stands there for a moment, then turns and walks away. She no longer needs anything from that house. Not their apology, not their love, not even their shame. She gave them truth. That is enough. At Mama Nkechi's house, Chisholm runs up to her with a flower he picked from the yard. "For you, Mama," he says. She smiles and kneels down, hugging him close. That evening, the house is calm. The storm is still outside, still loud. But inside, Adanna feels peace. Not because everything is perfect, but because she didn't let them silence her. Because she stood up. Because she is free. Adanna receives a letter. It comes one quiet morning. The sky is cloudy, the air still. Mama Nkechi hands her the envelope as she sweeps the front yard. "This came for you," she says softly. Adanna looks at the handwriting. It's her mother's. Her hands tremble slightly as she opens it. The paper is neat, folded carefully. The words are written in dark blue ink. "My daughter, Adanna, I know I do not deserve your forgiveness, but I am writing this because there are things I should have said a long time ago. When you stood in the compound years ago, crying in the rain, I wanted to hold you, but I didn't. I failed you. I failed myself too. I was once in your place. I had a pregnancy before marriage. Your grandfather made me hide it. I lost that child. I was told to forget. to stay silent. I lived with that silence all my life. When you came home that day, part of me saw myself in you, but I was too scared to protect you. I stayed quiet again. I'm sorry, but I watched you, even from afar. I saw you raise your son. I heard about the things you said, the things you did, and I want you to know, I am proud of you. You are braver than I ever was. You broke the silence I could not. Your mother, Mama. By the end of the letter, Adanna's cheeks are wet with tears, but this time, she is not crying from pain. She is crying from release, from the weight that just slipped off her chest, from the words she thought she'd never hear. She folds the letter slowly and places it on the table. Just then, Chisholm walks in from the back, dragging a small chair behind him. Mama, are you crying? He asks. Adanna quickly wipes her eyes and smiles. A little, but it's okay. They're happy tears. Chisholm climbs into her lap and hugs her tightly. She holds him close, resting her chin on his head. I love you, Mama, he says. I love you too, she whispers. Later that day, another small package arrives. It's from Adai's. Inside is a photo, old, faded, but precious. It shows 3 girls playing in front of the family house, Adanna, Adai's, and their mother as children. There's also a small note taped to the frame. We break the cycle together. Adanna stares at the photo for a long time. Then she smiles. She finds a small nail and gently hangs it on the wall beside her bed. That evening, as she lies beside Chisholm, she looks at the photo again. She sees the past, the pain, the silence, but also the healing. She sees a future where shame does not win, where truth is not buried, where women speak and the world listens. And in that quiet room, Adanna finally rests. Adanna is seen opening a modest women's support centre in Port Harcourt. The building is small, with light yellow walls and a blue roof. The paint is fresh. The sign outside reads, House of Hope for Women and Children. Inside, there are chairs arranged in a circle, a shelf with books, a small table with a jug of water and cups. On the far wall, there's a framed quote, Let the silence speak. There are a few guests, Mama Nkechi, Adaizi, Amara, and 2 other women from the cooperative. No big speeches, no cameras, just warm faces and quiet smiles. Adanna stands at the front of the room, holding a candle in her hand. I opened this place, she says softly, not because I am perfect, but because I survived. And I want other women to know they can survive too. Her voice shakes just a little, not from fear, but from feeling. Mama Nkechi claps first, then the others join. Chisholm runs around the room, laughing and chasing a balloon someone brought. He wears a white shirt and sandals, his joy filling the space. Adanna kneels down to light the small candle beneath the framed quote. The flame glows gently. She stands again and watches it flicker. For a moment, her eyes close. She takes a deep breath. It's the kind of breath she hasn't taken in years. Full and free. No fear, no shame, just peace. Amara walks over and squeezes her hand. You did it, Adanna nods. We did it. Outside the building, the sky is clear. The sun is setting, casting a warm orange light through the windows. Chisholm comes running and hugs her leg. Mama, can we stay here always? Adanna smiles and lifts him in her arms. Yes, my love, this is home now. As the others begin to leave, promising to return the next day to help, Adanna stands by the doorway, holding Chisholm close. She looks around, at the room, the light, the quote on the wall, and she smiles. Her past didn't break her, it made her stronger. This is not revenge, this is purpose, this is healing, and finally, this is peace.